headquarters of Ramsey Solutions, this is the EntreLeadership podcast, where I take calls from leaders like you about what it takes to win at any stage of business and leadership. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host, and we got 30 years plus of experience in the trenches actually doing this stuff. So this is not a think tank of theory. This is this is actual people actually doing this stuff. PhD in DUMB, that's my degree. So, done it all wrong, did some of it right, enough of it right to make a profit and stay open. And so we're here to try to help you do just exactly the same. We'd love to have you be part of the program if you're running a business and it's doing well and you want it to do better and you got questions about your ongoing concern, your team. Maybe you got a team of 30 or 40 or 50 people or 10 people or 100 people and you're trying to figure out what to do with them. You got questions about all that? Hey, make a phone call. The phone number's 844-944-1070. Maybe you got good revenues. Maybe your revenues are running $2 million, $5 million, $100 million, and you want them to go better. Let's talk about it. I'll help you. It's what we do here. So again, just go to EntreLeadership.com/ask or call 844-944-1070. You can be part of this show. And we need you to help us make the show better. Please take our 2-minute survey so we can better serve you. Just click the link in the show notes and tell us what you like, what you don't like, and we'll try to do a little bit better. Nick is with us. Nick is in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Nick. Welcome to the EntreLeadership podcast.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. How's it going?
Better than I deserve. What's up in your world?
Hey, so I am currently a project manager / in the sales position for my father's landscape company. He started way back in 1983. And so we've been very blessed the past couple of years, gone from about $6 million in revenue 3 years ago to 8.4 2 years ago, and then last year we were just shy of 12 million.
Good.
In top line revenue.
That's fun.
A lot of fun. So I've been here a couple of years, and it's kind of always been the plan between my dad and I to go through succession and buy the company from him. Mm-hmm. So I just want to make sure we go about that the right way, and curious your thoughts on that. And I know listen to other episodes, and I know you're, I love your idea of paying honor and being humble through it all. So specifically, how do I balance that kind of attitude with also the desire to try to make changes and implement new ideas when I don't have ownership quite yet? We don't plan to go through this for the next couple of years. So,
how many team members?
We're at about 51 team members.
And you're a project manager, and your dad is the owner and I guess the CEO.
Yes, sir.
Who is in leadership between you and your dad?
We've got we've got 2 other project managers, mm-hmm. and this is in the construction division, which is about 90% of the revenue, mm-hmm. And about 10% in maintenance as another manager. But we're all pretty even.
So the 3 project managers or 4 report directly to your dad, and that's your org chart?
Yes, sir. We're all kind of evenly, divide and conquer. We get a new project and someone takes it on, and we all kind of work with each other and work with my dad. He did have a VP who retired about a year ago. That you
guys are all reported to?
Essentially, yes. We kind of all were project managers, and he was kind of the scheduler, piecing all the different pieces together of the mm-hmm. different projects. Mm-hmm. But pretty much on the same level below him, if that makes sense.
All right. If I was coaching you and your dad in the same room on this, what I would tell you to do is the model that we used, and it has worked here as well, and we've done it with a lot of other EntreLeadership companies, is the next stage for you all before the full transition is to move you between you and your dad, to move you right up next to your dad. We could call it COO, we could call it president, VP, we can call it whatever y'all want to call it, I don't care. But these project managers start to report to you, and you are looking over the entire company, helping him to run the entire company.
Okay.
We can give that title, whatever title I want it to be. But right now, you have project managers that are your peers, and you don't really mess with their projects. You run your projects.
Right.
And so I need you to get up over the top of them and mess with their projects. Or not really, but let them report to you, and then as long as they're running, you let them run. That's what your dad does. He doesn't interfere with them. He's got good guys. He delegates and lets it run, right?
Right.
And you would do the same. And then as far as changes go, when you move into that role, I would say you've got 6 months of doing no changes.
Mm-hmm.
Your job when you move into that role is to learn everything you can about every person that's going to be key to the future.
Right.
So you go on a listening tour.
Right.
With these key project managers and learn from them things you didn't already know about the company, about their struggles. And because a good leader, basically, regardless of whether it's family business transition involved or not, a good leader's job is not necessarily to do the work, it's to knock the blockers down that are keeping people from doing the work. Like if somebody that reports to me has something he can't knock down by himself or she can't knock down by themselves, it's my job to knock it down so they can get their work done.
Right.
And so that's leadership serving the rest of the team. Then I serve the team by making sure that things that are blocking them get removed so they're able to get their stuff done more efficiently and operationally. Now, if you do a change that causes that to happen, then that's a change you could institute, but that's a change where you're serving someone, not something where you go, well, I've been wanting to fix this for a while. That kind of stuff you got to put on the back burner because you need to be in the seat a little while and earn respect from the team before you start doing stuff. I want to fix that for a while. You probably you let that one lay a while.
Right. Would those changes, would it make sense to make those changes and kind of, because I have a lot of desire and push that I want to push for growth and, because I kind of see it as mine in the future and I've grown up around it. So does it make sense to try to implement those changes before ownership?
It's okay if you're doing that, but you're doing that hand in glove with your dad and with the team. Right. Everyone's involved in this decision. It's not the new kid comes in, pistols are blaring.
Yeah.
Right? You just keep your stinking pistol in the holster and let other people come up with this idea. As a matter of fact, if you can keep talking about it till someone else takes the idea and makes it theirs, instead of it being your idea, that's when you reach genius status.
Right.
My wife has made that genius status. She makes a lot of stuff my idea that she wants to do. And that just, man, you get all kinds of credit that way, right? So, that's where I want you to move towards. And that like you opened up with, that's a type of humility. And it's a type of holding back instead of like blowing the bugles like, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, new sheriff in town, cavalry's on the way, we're going to fix this mess that the old man, no, man, that's going to cause you nothing but trouble before and after becoming the owner.
Right.
You just don't blow the bugle of salvation. Let somebody else come in and figure, you lead the team and let them come to some of these conclusions. That's what the listening tour is for. Because when people are heard, they will step into this. Yeah, that's how I want you to do it.
Okay. Is working with my dad, like you said, the hand in glove, is that so that I have his backing to kind of help enforce too? Because
exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Like Daniel and I, my son is our president right now. We're working that way right this second. And so some stuff I'm taking care of, and it's stuff he wants to implement, but I'm putting it on me. So that he's got a clear path with the team to go on to the next thing. And he's got a lot of growth stuff he's wanting to implement, very similar to what you're talking about. But he and I doing it together is going to have a lot more insurance that we get that it actually gets done than if he does just swaggers in the room as the new kid and then tries to talk everybody into doing that. No, he's like, me and him sit down and we go, oh, that's a good idea. And then we sit down with the rest of the leadership team. We go, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's all work on that. And it's you get buy-in from everybody rather than just going, I'm doing this in spite of the old man, or I'm doing this in spite of the incompetent team, and that kind of stuff. That's what you don't want to set up, is this adversarial kind of feel in the leadership team. We want everything to be very in sync and very orchestrated. And that's just open communication, and your dad has to be open to trying some new things. I'm open to doing some stuff Daniel wants to do that I'm probably hadn't thought of, and I think it's a good idea. I'm willing to do it, but I hadn't thought of it. It's his idea, but yeah, let's go try that. Okay. And some stuff he's wanting to do, I'm like, nah, let's wait on that one. Let me sit on that one a little bit. Let's let that cook a little. And some things we talk to the leadership team, they go, no, I think we ought to go ahead. Okay, well, maybe we do. So we do a lot of stuff by consensus within the leadership team. We sit and talk it through, argue it through, kind of fight and scrap like brothers and sisters a little bit. And what play to call to win the Super Bowl? That's what we argue about. We're not arguing about making fun of somebody or picking on somebody or cutting somebody down or putting them in their place or corporate politics, but we do argue about which play to call to win the Super Bowl. And that's a good-natured argument. You know, everybody's trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to win. That's simple. Good stuff, man. You got the right kind of heart. You're going to be just fine. You're going to be running a $20 million business not long from now instead of a $12 million. And this will all be in the rearview mirror, and you do it gradually, carefully, lots of communication, lots and lots and lots and lots of communication. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast. Here's a math refresher. There are only 24 hours in a day, so you and your team need to streamline time-consuming tasks to focus on the activities that make money. Smart businesses are realizing that to reduce headaches as they scale, they need NetSuite by Oracle. NetSuite is the #1 cloud financial system, bringing accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one platform. With NetSuite, you can reduce IT costs because it's cloud-based. You can cut the cost of maintaining multiple systems because you've got one source of truth. It's a big deal. And you improve efficiency by bringing all your major business processes into one platform, saving time and cutting manual tasks and errors. So join the more than 37,000 smart companies like Ramsey Solutions that have done the math and are boosting their efficiency with NetSuite. And right now, you can download NetSuite's popular KPI checklist designed to drive the right behaviors for your business. Absolutely free at netsuite.com/Ramsey. That's netsuite.com/Ramsey to get your own KPI checklist. Are you waiting on things to improve on their own? Nothing improves on its own. On its own, things deteriorate. That's why I have to take a shower every day. Left to my own, it stinks, right? So you don't wait on it to improve on its own. Come on. No, your business is not going to grow faster or become healthier if all you do is listen to leadership podcasts. You got to actually do stuff. And the EntreLeadership system is your roadmap that will help you do exactly that. You'll finally scale your processes, unify your team, build a business you love to run. This system's how we built Ramsey, and it's how we've helped thousands of small business owners transform theirs. And right now, it's your turn to drive your business forward. It's not going to improve on its own. It's up to you. You got to smack it. You got to knock it in the head. You got to do it. Get up, leave the cave, kill something, drag it home. So go to EntreLeadership.com/get-started, and you can download our free Getting Started guide. It's free, and then you'll read it, and then you actually got to do it. That's it. There we go. This guide will walk you step by step through the practical steps we took to build Ramsey from a card table in my living room to a $300 million business. That's EntreLeadership.com/get-started, and you can download the free Getting Started guide, and then you will have to get started. That's how that works. Caleb is with us in Toledo, Ohio. Hi, Caleb. How are you?
I'm doing great, Dave. Thanks so much for taking my call. It's an absolute honor.
Wow. Honor to speak to you, sir. How can we help?
Well, like I said, my name is Caleb, and I own a small lawn company in Toledo, Ohio. We have 2 crew members, and I'm the third. Our revenue is just under $400,000 a year, and I'm having a problem because I think it's because we're so small. But earlier this year, I had to let a member go without a lot of notice because he called off on a Monday without any notice, and I looked over his past over the past couple of weeks. It was his first 30 days, and he had been coming in late multiple days, and so I just made the call to let him go. But that left us in such a lurch that I was working until 10 o'clock each night. I'm looking for a little bit of insight to know what you do when you know that a member is not right, but you can't backfill for them as you let them go. Do you keep them on?
No, you fire them.
Performance?
No, you fire them.
Or
it's a disease in the culture of your organization. If you tolerate this, you're giving a signal to everyone else that this is okay.
That's why I made that call.
Yeah, you made the right call. You made the right call.
Okay.
The problem is when you have 3 people and you fire someone, you fired 33% of your labor force.
Yeah.
That's the problem, is the ratio. Like you said, it's because you're so small, you feel it. I mean, if you got 10 people, you fire someone, you lost 10% of your, of your productivity, hypothetically. Now, you did not lose 33% of your productivity because this joker don't even show up for work. So he wasn't doing much to start with. So we might have lost 20% of our productivity, but we didn't lose 1/3 of it because he wasn't carrying 1/3 of the wood. Agreed?
Agreed. Yeah,
Okay.
we got it done, but it took us,
So,
more time.
the trick here is hiring, and they were in their first 30 days, and so what you discovered was that you made a bad hire.
Yes.
Yeah, we have a probation period when someone comes on at Ramsey for 90 days. In the first 90 days, we have a low obligation to you. And you have a low obligation to us. So you don't have to give us 2-week notice. We've had people that just sent an email and didn't come back the next week. That's fine.
Okay.
In the first 90 days, it's kind of tacky, but it's, whatever. In the first 90 days, that's fine. I'd rather know then than I invest in you for 1.5 years or 2 years and then you screw off like that. So, no. I mean, in the first 30 days like that, you discover the guy, he don't want to work much. You heard a lazy guy.
Yeah, or an uncommitted at
a minimum, a party animal who's hungover and don't get out of bed in the morning to come work. I mean, I don't know what it is, but you got a bad dude, so you cut him loose. You did exactly the right thing. The problem is it's just hard because, now you got to go backfill, and hiring when you're that small is you have to take time off from work to actually interview.
That's true, and I don't have a lot of time too, and
and so you can make the mistake of being too rushed and hire another doofus because you were too rushed in the interview process.
Yeah, how do I avoid being desperate in the interview process when I'm meeting them before work and I'm staying out until 10 o'clock at night?
Yeah. You make an emotional decision that in spite of the strain, you're not going to be desperate because it's kind of the grandma's thing, anything worth doing is worth doing right. Because if you don't do it right, you get to do it again. And you're going to do this. If you hire improperly, you're going to do it over and over and over again, right? So it's easier to slow down. Let's say you take twice as much time to interview, and that's super inconvenient, but you get a good person. Or you spend half the time, and you go through 4 of them before you get a good one. Well, it's easier to get it right the first time and take extra time. So we spend an inordinate amount of time interviewing, re-interviewing, talking more, thinking about it, talking about it in different settings. I mean, I swear it's easier to get on with the FBI than it is at Ramsey because we put folk through the ringer, man, because we don't want crazy in the building. And crazy's hard to deal with. They're expensive. And so It takes up extra time. You got to fool with it, and oh God, man! But in the first 90 days, I have a low obligation. They have a low obligation. You should adopt that, and you need to slow down. You need to take more time. I'm sorry, Caleb. I wish there was a magic wand, but you're at a very tough stage of business right now, at this treadmill stage, where you are everything's so dependent on you. The revenue production, the actual service production, all of that is so dependent upon you. You've not gotten big enough yet to where you are working on your business instead of in your business. You're still working in it all the time. And you've got to get some folks on this team. You got to get your revenues up a little bit more so that you can get some breathing room so that every time someone leaves, it's not a crisis. And, we've got about 1,100 folk here. And it's sad for me when someone leaves that's been here a long time, but we backfill that work in about 38 seconds. And so we just keep rolling because we have to, and it's really, we don't notice. But I remember when I had 10 people and I fired one. Oh, man, shook the whole place up. I remember when I had 5 people and somebody quit. I cried. I'm like, oh, God, I got to go do all this work. No. I remember that. It's no fun. So it's a much easier thing to move on up through the stages of business and get enough team doing production and enough production going on that you can afford that you that you're able to work on the business, not just in it, as Gerber says in the book E-Myth. So be sure and check that book out, by the way. That's a good thing to think about. That's what we're facing here. There we go. Wow. If you want to participate in this show, we'd love to have you. 844-944-1070. Give me a call. We'll help you out. This was the EntreLeadership Podcast. Thanks for joining us, America. This is hands-on practical advice from hands-on practical people. Not much theory here. Just business acumen and hard dadgum work. And we'll show you how to do that. That's what we're here for. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast. You can join us by calling or leaving a message at EntreLeadership.com/ask, or give us a call at 844-944-1070, and we'll be happy to walk with you through your business issues. Tracy is with us in Tampa, Florida. Hi, Tracy. How are you?
I'm well, thanks, Dave. How are you?
Better than I deserve. How can I help?
Well, I own a veterinary practice. We do about $2.1 million in revenues, and I had a doctor that I worked with for 26 years, and then he had the audacity to retire at 75. And I've been
Can't believe he would do that to you.
Yeah, me too. After that many years, caught me off guard because it was kind of all of a sudden. And so, I hired another veterinarian who was really difficult, not nice to the rest of my employees, and very not great with my clients either. So he ended up costing us business, and then we ended up, terminating his employment about 2 months ago.
Good.
And now we're in search of another veterinarian, and there's a veterinary shortage. So there's a lot of the veterinary hospitals in our area are been purchased by corporations, and so there's a lot of difficulty in trying to hire another veterinarian because they're offering sign-on bonuses, and some of them are offering $250,000 for a 5-year commitment. And it's not that I couldn't provide that; it's just I want to know up front that I'm going to get something out of my money. And I talked to a recruiter, and he was talking about doing a retention bonus as opposed to a sign-on bonus after a year's employment. And I didn't know what the thoughts were on doing something like that.
It's a possible move. Here's the thing. I try to avoid competing with corporate America for team members. Corporate America sucks. They don't treat their people well. At the first sign of trouble, they cut them loose, drop them in the street on their head. The environment that you have to work in is politically correct bullcrap, where you can't get any work done and you can't even talk to humans. And so I think small business people like you and me have an advantage because I think people that are real people that want to work for more than just money They want reasonable pay. They want to be paid, rate. But if they're just trying to cash a check, they're just looking for a job in return, a transaction here, that's not who I want on my team. So someone who's motivated by a $250,000 signing bonus to work for crappy companies versus working for a family-owned and operated thing that has a soul and actually cares about the customer and cares about their team and actually treats them right, they're not someone I want on my team anyway if the $250 bonus is what gets them. So you're not going to get who you want. Who you want is the guy that retired. You want his heart and soul. You want some in a younger body, right?
Absolutely.
And that guy would have never worked for those companies you're talking about.
Right, and it wasn't really an option up until the last, maybe 8-10 years.
Oh, I know. It's gone very corporate. Dental has done the same thing. The dentist world is very similar, and it's just. But it's and a lot, other things have to. I mean, we face it in the tech world. Some people are paying tech people, $50,000 to jump ship and go over there. And some of our guys are like, we need to pay $50,000 to keep them. And I'm like, I don't want to keep them if that's who they are. I want them to leave. Good riddance. Because if you're only here working for a check only. Now, I want to pay you fairly. I want you to make good money. I don't even mind paying you above market. But if your only motivation is how much you can get, a nickel an hour or more, go work somewhere else, then go work somewhere else. You're not going to fit in around here. You're not one of us because we're crusaders. And I think that working in your clinic would be a completely different experience culturally. I think the air would be different in your clinic than it would be in corporate clinic. Agreed? And I think that's your brand differentiator. And I think if you have a recruiter that's telling you the only way you're going to get people is pay $250 up front, then I think you got the wrong recruiter. Now, if you want to do some comp plans that are creative, where you're sharing some of the profits of the clinic with the person in addition to their salary, and that is their incentive, they feel like an owner, I do that. But that's because I want people to feel like owners.
And the only people that I've had, honestly, interviewing, they're all from Canada, it seems, because they can't afford to live and work in Canada specifically. And, I guess I'm having difficulty with I'm not getting, local U.S. vets to even apply. And I find, even with doing it through the American Veterinary Medical Association. So I don't, I've done Indeed, and the last guy we terminated trashed us on Indeed. So, it gives the corporate culture gets a negative vibe.
You can post an answer on Indeed and go, we fired the guy. That's why he's trashing us.
See, they said not to get into that tit for tat situation.
I wouldn't get in tit for tat, but I would go, he's a liar. I fired him. That's why he's trashing me. I'd do that if you think that's keeping you from getting hires.
Well, it said something that one person found it helpful, and I had somebody I spoke to that was from North Carolina, and then I just didn't hear from her after that, and I don't know if the time frame corresponded with what he had said. So
I don't have any idea. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't either. Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I mean, and again, if you're going to not come to work for me because of something you read on the internet, you're too dumb to work here. I'm perfectly okay with that. Because if you believe stuff on the internet, you're dumb. I mean, Glassdoor, you can't even prove that the person that said that worked there. Same thing with Indeed. They have no proof of that the negative review is an actual employee. So people just go on there and make up crap. They've done it to us. They do it to people all over the place. In the restaurant business, they've run into it everywhere because they cut each other's throat in the restaurant. So the restaurant across the street will post a bunch of negatives about the guy across the street, and it's not even a real employee. It's a competitor posting it. And so if you're so dumb you don't know that, then I don't really want you working here. I mean, if you believe everything you read about me, the stuff Dave Ramsey has done on the internet is amazing that I never did, by the way. So the same stuff with you. I mean, it's the same thing. So now, if you want to post an answer there, you can post it. I wouldn't get into a big, long thing because you're not going to solve it. But once again, if you go, all right, I didn't go to work for Dave Ramsey, or I didn't go to work for Tracy because of what's on Glassdoor or on Indeed. Good. You're too dumb to work here. You're not the kind of people I want. I want people with more wisdom than that. I mean, everything on the internet's true. Abraham Lincoln said that. So you know, I don't know where you find them, though. I don't know anything about Canadian vets versus U.S. vets and all that. But my suspicion is this. We, for instance, in the tech world, there's a shortage there, too, of high-end, you know, Dev 3 level and above programmers, people working on platform stuff, okay? And these are six-figure plus positions, like you're hiring. And we have found that a large number of those programmers are coming to us because they're sick of the way they've been treated in corporate America. The number of hours they're asked to work, the way they're treated like a number, they're treated like a unit of production, not a human. No one cares anything about their personal, about them being as a person. You have all of that as a brand advantage. So if you can get the word out somehow to some of the poor docs that took those jobs in those corporate environments, they probably would love to escape.
Because that's what I've heard from some of the doctors who, you know, had to pay the sign-on bonus back when they didn't stay for the 5 years or whatever the commitment was.
Yeah, that's part of the deal. Yeah.
And so, you know, and that would be fair. You know, it's just right now I'm running with relief vets, you know, 3 days a week, just trying. And those are.
You know what? If I found a guy and he was $250,000 out and he's $150,000 has to be paid back, and that's what you did, you paid the $150 there. And you had a solid contract, but you've got a person that you think is gold because they've learned their lesson and they're not doing it for the signing bonus. You're just helping them escape. Now that I might do.
You mean help them out with that?
Yeah, I'd help them cover that. And maybe they're I don't know, down to 100,000, whatever, instead of, but just buying someone off the street with a signing bonus is bad medicine as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of like walking up to someone whose house is not for sale and knocking on the door and going, "Is your house for sale?" "No, but it could be."
Right.
"If you want to pay me a stupid butt price, it could be." That's not how you get a bargain in real estate, right? It's the same kind of a thing when you're recruiting out there in the marketplace. "Oh, are you looking for a job?" "No, but I could be. For $250K up front, I might." You know, well, now you're just dislodging somebody that the next person comes along is going to dislodge with the exact same motivation. So you don't want to get in that game. But setting a slave free, I might set some slaves free if they're appreciative, and they tell the story 16 years later about how Tracy set them free, and it's the best move they ever made because they got to participate in the profits, and maybe they worked that maybe they worked that 100K or 150K back off somehow in the deal comp plan you put together with them. I would do that kind of thing, but just buying somebody, "Is your house for sale?" "Sure, for a right price." "You want to change jobs?" "Sure, for the right price." I don't want that person. No thanks. And we've made that mistake about 4 times, and 4 out of 4 times it sucked. So I'm not doing it anymore. We told all of our recruiting teams, stop that. You know, if you want to come work at a place that has a soul and that cares about you and that pays fairly and treats you like a human, and the first time things get bad isn't going to pee on you, then you got the right place. But if you're just coming somewhere for the money, you got the wrong place. And you don't want to set up a narrative where people are coming just for the money, because they'll leave you just for the money. Same thing. And they're motivated by the wrong things to create a good culture inside your organization. And that's what you run into. It's a problem. And yeah, but it's frustrating as crap right now because you're running short on staff, and so you're working like crazy because you got the one guy that you fired, there's a doofus, you got the guy that retired, and so now I'm too short, and Canada's my only answer. Oh, man. Wow. In Tampa, Florida, I'm recruiting from Canada. I mean, this is not like you're in Detroit recruiting from Canada. Wow. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast. Thanks for joining us, America. This is the EntreLeadership Podcast. We coach tens of thousands of businesses over the years. in the range of 5 to 500 employees. Almost all of the folks in EntreLeadership Elite and that attend our events are 5 to 200 employees. And they're, running 2 million to 100 million in revs, that kind of thing. And that's what we're here for. If you're in corporate America, you're going to get mad at me because I make fun of corporate America all the time. Corporate America, by the way, is a mindset. It is not a large company. There are good, large companies that don't pee on their people, that aren't mean to their people, that aren't nasty, that aren't ridiculous in their agendas and so forth. There are good ones. It's not about size, corporate America, but it's a mindset of people don't matter. The employees don't matter. The customers don't matter. I'm here for it. It's a self-centered mindset, and they'll cut payroll, and they mistreat folk in a heartbeat just for profit. And it's very mercenary, and it just doesn't have a soul. And that's my definition of corporate America when I'm making fun of corporate America. So it's not about size. If you work for a big company that does a great job, then fine. I'm not going to issue with that. But you and I see them in the news every day that laid off 7,000 employees just to increase Q1 stock price. They do it every week. And it has nothing to do with anything except Q1 stock price. Well, if you didn't need the people, you shouldn't have hired them. And if you hired them, you should be so concerned about them that you're not worried about Q1 stock price. Instead, we drive to ROI, the payroll, and create a revenue spike, which drives stock price. That's how you properly run a business, not cut expenses, not a race to the bottom. So that's the kind of stuff we're talking about around here. And if you want to be part of the show, 844-944-1070 is the place to do that. Morgan is in Denver. Hey, Morgan, how are you?
It's an honor to chat with you. Thanks for taking my time.
My pleasure. How can we help?
So I'm the CEO of a Denver-based service-based business here called Your Whole Meal. It's a personal chef company. Our revenue is about $450K a year gross with 17 members. And here's my question. So I keep hiring, doing sales, building the book of business, and then the team member does stupid math, as you call it, takes the book, does their own thing. So I'm basically building my competition. My family truly jokes that I'm a serial entrepreneur because I've basically started 5 personal chef gigs in our 8 years. So rather than just solving the symptoms, right, it's so much bigger than that. So basically I was trying to get your experience during like what you call the treadmill phase, right? Mm-hmm. And I know I'm not alone. There's cleaning companies, for example, they go through the same thing. So how do I build a business without just building my competition and just doing it and keeping the rat on the wheel, as they say?
Well, there's 2 elements that we need to separate. The non-compete is going away in federal law, okay? Regulations are coming down on that, all right? And so you're not going to be able to you're not going to be able to have someone sign a non-compete, but they can sign a contract that they state in the contract that the customers that you are sending them to are owned by you.
Yep.
And to do business with that customer is not a non-compete issue. That's stealing my customer. That's different than non-compete. Okay? For instance, in the investment world, if you go to a SmartVestor Pro that we recommend people to do investments, those guys, gals build a book of business, and they'll have sometimes a junior staffer working with Joe Smith, helping them do their investing, but that junior staffer does not own that client. The owner of the business owns that client. That's a book of business, and that book of business actually has a market value, and when someone gets ready to retire in that world, they'll sell that book of business for bazillions of dollars. But you can't just be a junior on the flagpole and run out and take those people you've been working with that your boss gave you to work. That's illegal in that world, okay? And it'll get you sued. And you can set that up here as well, okay? And so we have business coaches in EntreLeadership, and those EntreLeadership clients are mine. They're not theirs. I own those clients. And if they come back and try to steal those clients after they leave to go be a business coach on their own, what you're describing, I will put them out of business. Okay? And because it's stealing. It's not because I'm vindictive. It's stealing. I paid the money. I did the marketing to create that client. They didn't. They merely coached them. Your person didn't do anything except cook. That's all they did. They didn't run the business. They didn't come up with a client base. And so it's not their customer. And you can contractually, in any state, except possibly California where you can't do anything, but you can contractually, in Colorado, keep them from stealing your customer as a part of their employment agreement. And if they do, you can shut them down with a lawsuit. And I would. That tough. And make that part of the hiring understanding. Be very, very clear when you're hiring them. This is my customer, you the chef, me the owner. You cook, I do business. You work for me. This is my customer, not yours. I don't care if they like you. As a matter of fact, it's good that they like you. That's part of your job. You're in their freaking home. So, but that doesn't mean you own them. I own the customer. And you're going to have to talk about that, apparently, very directly and very clearly, because stealing customers in your world seems to be a regular event. Right?
Yes, it is. And now we're doing the non-solicitation because we learned the hard way. So.
Yeah.
But no, it's super common.
Yeah.
It happens to all sorts of everyone.
Yeah, it does. But I'm going to be the one that doesn't allow it if I'm you.
Yeah.
And that's part of the onboarding when I hire a chef. You need to be real. I need to be real clear with you. I'm going to be good to you. I'm going to pay you. But if you take one of my customers, I'm going to grind you to powder. Okay? You need to, I'm going to be real tough in the onboarding. This is not happening. Okay? And, so yeah, you've got, because I'm not going to pick a fight. I'm not trying to pick a fight. I'm not trying to cause a problem. I'm trying to avoid one by heading it off at the pass. So yeah, I'm going to do that in the onboarding, and I'm going to do that if I smell a rat, because these people, they're in their homes, they're artists, they're chefs, everybody loves them, and we feel like we're going steady, and so I can just quit Morgan and I'll go take her customers. No, I'm not going to allow that. So anyway, that's one thing you can do. And obviously, I've dealt with that, and I will deal with it again, I'm afraid, because it doesn't matter how much you deal with it. Somebody gets confused, and you have to explain it to them again. And so, I mean, is that the whole thing? You just got to block that out so that you can build a good book of business and let your business thrive?
Honestly, I think that's a symptom, whether it's a symptom of hiring, right? And I didn't weed that little detail out, though I tried, right? Or if it's more of a symptom of, I mean, we have a really good profit margin, as we should, right? Mm-hmm. That's a beautiful thing.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know if it's that, or if it's, even though I truly love my team, something's missing. I don't know.
Well, you're going to have people leave. You can't stop that. People leave for all kinds of reasons. They leave because they want to go in business. And the restaurant business in general has high turnover.
Yes,
so
3 months average.
Is the nature of the business. I mean, I've got a friend that owns about 60 restaurants. He said the national average is 328% a year. That means you replace everyone 3 times. That would drive me bananas. But he said that's the norm. He's got his down to 120. He only loses them all once a year. I can't even imagine. Mine's probably 6% or 8% here. I couldn't imagine 125% turnover ratio. So you're in a high turnover industry in its nature, and any businesses out there listening to you and me have this conversation, you're going to have people leave. You're going to have people leave that you don't want to leave, and they leave with integrity and don't steal your customers and go do something else. And they could open up their own chef thing and don't steal your customers. They can do that, but that doesn't harm you because they're getting business that wasn't yours. There's plenty of people out there, plenty of houses you can cook in Denver. So if one guy goes up and he starts cooking in 10 houses, that doesn't hurt your business as long as he didn't take yours. And they're going to do that because it's the nature of the food world right now to be a celebrity chef, right?
Yes and no, and I love the competition. We had to get far better over the 8 years. I could be half the business owner I was before COVID.
Yeah.
So no, I love the competition. I'm good with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't accusing you of that. I'm just saying that I'm people that have been here 20 years, and, something happens, they get married, and a single lady gets married, and her husband decides he wants to take a job in Oklahoma. Well, I lost a 20-year person when that happens, there's not anything I can do. I mean, that's just part of life. You're going to have some people that leave that you really didn't want to leave, and there's no magic pill to keep them. But I think the more frustrating thing about your story for me is, and I went off on the soapbox, but is the stealing of customers. And like you said, you have to start over every time they take your whole book, and I'm not going to do that. I got such a low tolerance for thieves that people trying to steal money. It's ridiculous. So anyway, yeah, but I think also you've got that combined with just the high turnover nature of the food preparation world, the restaurant world, that it's unusual for a chef to go somewhere and stay 20 years. It's very unusual in that world because things change and people go open a different restaurant and they go do something else and they move around. It's just kind of there's a vibe to that. So I think you're going to fight some of that, just the very nature, and I don't think you can do anything about it other than treat your people well, do the stuff that you're talking about. So I think you're doing a great job. I think you're probably doing a better job than it feels to you like you're doing. Folks, remember, better a weary warrior than a quivering critic. This world needs more high-quality leaders like Morgan. So take courage and lead. I'm Dave Ramsey, your host. Thanks for listening to the EntreLeadership Podcast.